So everyone, our discussion today is titled, and let me get the intonation to this correct. You're a virtual biotech? Think again. Many of you know this discussion is based on an editorial I did with Bob a few months back. If you've read the editorial, you've got a bit of a head start, but no worries to those who haven't. We'll catch you up immediately. If you believe and call yourself a virtual or emerging biotech and you're fully optimizing a drug development and manufacturing outsourcing model, you may be in for an identity crisis. So, Bob, I've never seen so many people so excited to be told where they may be missing the mark. Let's start with that first provocation. What are emerging or virtual biotechs getting mostly wrong with their outsourcing strategy?
Yeah, so thanks for that introduction, Lewis. And I guess where I would start, and there's a lot of places we could start, but where I would start, because I don't think that there's anyone out there that doesn't do some form of outsourcing, whether or not they think that they're a pure play virtual biotech or whether they think that they're a hybrid model, they do some of it. And to really understand whether or not you're getting the greatest efficiency and effectiveness out of your business model, you have to understand sort of the concept of leakage. And I guess what I would talk about just briefly here, and we're going to go into a number of things I'm sure later, is to get you the concept of what leakage is. And to just understand what leakage is, you have to first understand a little bit about, and we're going to talk about this later, the difference between variabilized cost and fixed costs. And so to just paint a little bit of a picture here, envision for a second an analogy that I'm going to put together. Imagine a bathtub, okay? And the bathtub represents your company, okay? And the water that is pouring into your bathtub, it actually represents your company's capital, okay? And the water tap that's providing that as either investors or other sources of capital funding or revenue, if you are lucky enough to have some. And the idea here is that you want to utilize the water in this bathtub for as much as you possibly can, for as long as you possibly can, before it eventually, inevitably finds the drain. And what is the drain? Well, the drain is really, it's effectively, the size of the drain is kind of determined by the efficiency of your company's business model and how efficiently you run the company. And leakage really is anything that causes a premature loss of the water from the bathtub, right? Or in other terms, leakage is just a wide open drain. And if you can think about how you're effectively running your company, anything that contributes to that leakage, it puts you further and further away from actually collectively being the best virtual biotech that you can be and getting the greatest efficiencies from that. And I'm just going to start with a couple of really brief examples of leakage. So the first thing would be, let's say that you've outsourced to some CMO, CRO, CDMO, but as soon as you've done this, you've also hired either overlapping or duplicative resources that are now full-time equivalents of your company. And they are going to work seamlessly, but they're also going to be not supporting, but are actually duplicating certain services or replicating certain things that you're already getting from the provider. Another source of leakage would be poorly designed contracts with strategic partners that allow for leakage through many other purposes, like many other reasons, such as getting recharged for multiple things. Another source of leakage would be using a strategic partner like a vendor. Or I would say one other way of thinking about it would be, do you outsource in fragmented strategies? For example, if you're on in the CMC space, do you do all of your outsourcing of your preclinical and clinical stage development of your CMC? And do you do it in an integrated fashion? Or do you do it in a way where your API is done with one supplier and your drug product is done with another one? Maybe you've got an external analytical laboratory or those types of things. The ability that you'll have to try to keep all of those things together will generate a huge amount of energy that will have to get expended on your part and will go part of that leakage. So you have to really understand how to run the system efficiently.